Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Let's Make a Mario Game. Woo! I hope you guys are excited like I am today, because in the last video we ended up moving our Mario. Like, how awesome is that? We were able to do the jump, we're doing the spin, doing the walking, and the crouching, I believe. I'm not sure what else we did. I believe that was all of them. But we did all of that, and it's awesome, and I'm excited. So in this video, we can at least start working. I guess what was at least showing the background already. Displaying it on the screen. So that's what I wanted to do. But before I actually gonna be doing that, um, I wanted to clean up some stuff first. So let's go to the directory. So we go to the OpenGL framework directory, wherever you save it at. Go to Super Mario Game. Go into our textures folder. In here, we want to create a new folder. And we can be calling it, let's call it Mario Sprites. That's where all our Mario Sprites are going to be at. Now, what we want to do as well, okay, we want to add, if you go to in the GitHub directory where you download this project, inside the images folder where I actually upload all the images for you guys, in that same folder, we are I have a texture called Super Mario World map underscore 01. That's the level background that we're going to be using. So grab it from the images folder and put it into your directory. So in here, we also want to create another folder called backgrounds. And all we're going to do is just put that background image inside the backgrounds folder. So now that we did that, let's go to our game scene CPP file and make sure we actually link it up correctly. So all our Mario sprites are inside the Mario sprites folder. So let's do that. Mario sprites. And with that, if I build it, I should be able to play it. If nothing else goes wrong. There we go. That's what we end up leaving off to. Let me take that off the screen actually, because I do not need that. So now what we're gonna do, we want to create our background, or at least not create, but initialize basically. So let's add another texture here. Let's add another texture, and let me go to my backgrounds folder. So in here, we can let's load our background. So remember, it's inside the backgrounds folder. It's called Super Mario World map underscore BG. I'm actually gonna call it background. I'm not gonna make a big deal out of it, to be honest. I'm just gonna call it background. So let's go to let's draw a background. So entity equals add entity, and we're gonna call sprite equals new sprite, and put that as entity. We can initialize or set texture for file name. Well, actually, it's not. It's called background. My bad. And I'm not sure if I already initialized the shader, but if I'm not, then I just want to make sure. So set shader from, and we're gonna set as the texture. And I believe that's all we need to draw a background. But I believe this. Oh, Super Mario EXE. What happened? Interesting. Is it entity? Add entity. Sprite equals new from entity. Set texture from background, which gets initialized on top. Oh, I misspelled backgrounds. Make sure you spelled it correctly. And there you go. And now you see an issue that it's actually not centered correctly. So what we want to do, we want to we gonna center it by grabbing its width and height. So that's what we're gonna do. So what we want to do, we want to go to our sprite class, because I believe if I remember correctly. Why is that? I guess I'm not using it. Anyway, no, it's not. This is shader. My bad. What I want is a sprite header file. I believe yeah, that makes sense. And here we need to be able to get the width and height from this sprite. So what we want to create a const float. And just say get width, and just make sure we get this const float get height. We want to pass this. We want to do that. We want to create it. Create our definitions. Let's go to Sprite CPP file. And here you just want to say texture get width. I believe it's a float already. Oh, it's not. Okay, I guess we had to cast this float. Oh no, actually not. No, wait, hold on. We don't want to do that. We want to get the mrec. I mean, it will still work, but we want to get the mrec and just get width. I just will make it used for something from here. So mrec get height. And why am I getting errors in here? The object has type qualifiers that are not compatible with the member function get width. Okay. Let's go to a rectangle class CPP file. Let's go to a header file. You want to make sure for the width, make sure you put it as const as well, and make sure you put it in this header file. Make sure you update it in a header file as well, so that it can have it. So once you come back, they should go away. There we go. Great. So let's close Sprite off because we don't need it. So what we're gonna do to make sure that this is centered, we want to set the entity, set position, and you're just gonna get Sprite get width divided by 2, because that way we get the center of it. And the same thing goes for the other one, get height divided by 2. Alright. And now there we go. And the reason why we're not seeing Mario right now, I believe that the order of rendering actually has to be different. So make sure we move the initialization or where we instantiate our background. Make sure you move at the bottom after the player. And if you play it again, I believe it should play. And I gotta fix that transparency thing. I'm not sure what's going on there, but anyway, that might be the texture. Let me see the textures. Yeah, it's black on my end. What if I jump? Does it go away if I jump? Oh, I still have it. Interesting. Okay, interesting. Anyway, so now we gotta make sure Mario's actually hitting the ground. I know we're not using collision, so we can kind of like tweak it and fake it for now until we do. So let's go to our player age. Right now, ground is 300. What I want to do for now, I'm gonna remove the const, and I'm gonna remove it from here as well. Because if I don't do that, I'm gonna have to keep cleaning my project and rebuilding it all over. So temporarily, I'm gonna put it here. Do not do that, or I guess you can if you want. If you want to test it out on yours. But the problem is, if I update the number, I'm gonna have to clean the project and rebuild it, and that takes a while. And I don't want to take too much time. But if I put in a CPP file, you actually do it. It will do it right away. If I put it 400, okay. It's 300, huh? What's the size of my Mario? I think it's 20, right? 20. So if I remove 20, it's 380. Couple more pixels, 375 maybe? There we go. That worked. Okay. 375. So let's update that. Let's go back in here. And we'll put it as 375. And this is the reason why I'm saying that I'm going to do that. I'm going to clean up project. Where's project? Clean and rebuild. Alright, I kind of paused it so you guys don't have to see that. It's not like it took forever anyway, but anyway. Make sure if it actually let me make sure it actually works. Yep, it does. So the other thing, actually, if you actually play it again, or if I play it again for you guys to see, you notice that the texture doesn't actually like scale to the entire screen. So let's do that. Let's create another class. I probably don't even need to create a class, but probably future-wise, I probably can end up doing it anyway. So you want to do, let's add a new item. A new item. I want to add a header file, and you just call that world info. Make sure it's actually in the source folder. And add. And here we can say pound if and def world info. I can type today. Dang. Forgive me. Let me copy that actually. And if. So when I hear, you want to put a pound define. And we're going to call it world scale. And let's call that 2.0f for now. Let's do that 2.0f. So in here, world in player age, you want to say pound include world info. You want to multiply this ground times world scale temporarily. You want to go into our game scene, and we want to scale the background. We want to scale the background. Oh yeah, I gotta add the world info here. Let's add world info. Include world info. And we're gonna set the scale of our background. Set it to world scale. World scale. And set the last one to 1 actually. And you want to do the same thing for our Mario. You want to do the same thing for a little Mario dude. Where do I create my Mario? Right here. Yeah. Right now I have it as 2, which is okay. Yeah, I gotta. Well, that's probably too much. Wait. Oh, you know what? I forgot not to do it in another place. Let's go to our game scene and make sure you multiply this as well. Oh, my bad. Since you update the we updated the scale, you make sure you multiply the position of our background and multiply it by the scale as well. Okay, as you notice, probably 2.0f is probably a little bit too much. Let's do 1.5. Okay, needs a little bit more. 1.7 ish. Okay, that works. Awesome. So now that fits with our level. That looks awesome. Okay. Let's close world info. I think our next thing is that we gotta start moving our background with our camera. And that's gonna be a little bit more fancy. A little more fancy. So what we wanna do, let's go to our Sprite CPP file where we initialize our render function. And here you wanna say vector 3 cam pause equals camera get. The problem is that I'm not using this get position. Should I use it for now? You know what? I'm gonna use it for now. So get position. So we have that. We have a get position. We want to make sure for now. I'm not sure if I'm gonna be using the Y yet, but in the future we probably gonna be updating it. So just make sure we just set everything else to 0 except the X. And we want to create another vector 3 and call it new pause. And we're gonna say m entity get position minus cam pause. Oh no, wait, get position. Since it's const, you will have to make that in a new line and say minus equals cam pause. Because if you do it on top, it will not work because this is const. So now you just want to do is copy new pause and pass it in here. Yeah. And if you play, it should still do the same because I believe cam pause is 0. So what we're going to do is also as well, we want to put it in animated sprite. So a CPP file in the same place, you want to do the same thing. You pause, make sure you update it, and you pass it into the transformation matrix. Play it, and you should still get the same. So now what we want to do, go to the Super Mario game solution project, and you want to add a class. Let's add a class, and you call it PlayerCam. This is what you can use to make the camera to move our camera, and it's actually going to be inside source folder. So now what you want to do is here pound if and def PlayerCam h define PlayerCam and if. So we want to do here, we want to create a void update float dt, and we want to initialize. Oh, you know, not yet. Hold on. We also want to include our components. We're gonna inherit from components. So that means we gotta pass entity in our constructor as well. And we gotta update. We gotta add this to our PlayerCam CPP file. Let's go here to our header. To our CPP file or PlayerCam. PlayerCam. Why do I say clam? I should just call it clam, huh, guys? I should just call it clam. We want to make sure you initialize our constructor correctly. And here you make sure you initialize our base update as well. Pass in DT. So in here, what we want to do, let's create a private member. We're going to pass entity, and we're going to pass in our player. Our player entity. We're going to create a function here, a public function. You're going to say set player entity, or you just call it target, or whatever works. But for now, I'm just going to call it that. And we got to add it to our CPP file. And here, and player entity equals player entity. Okay, so what we want to do here, we want to say, oh, that's why we needed our, okay. So I'm going to end up needing it, actually. I'm going to have to update our sprite and animation sprite so that I'm able to get the entity's position, not the camera's position. You'll see what I mean. But anyways, let's set entity, set position, and we can set the position to our player entity. I'm gonna have to set the separate, huh? Okay, hold on. Vector 3 pause equals and player entity get position pause that get X, pause that get Y, and the last one is 0, so I don't really care about that, to be honest. Okay, so what we want to do instead of getting this, you want to get the entity instead. And I do not have entity, do I? Okay. I don't think I made it with you guys. Let's go to our component header file. In our component header file, we want to say mEntity pointer get entity. Just make sure we initialize that in the header file and just return mEntity. So go to your CPP file and make sure you set the return, get the getter function or get entity. Make sure you return entity. And once you do so, let's close components. In here, you want to say get entity, get position. Make sure you do it to the sprite and animation sprite. Not get position, get entity. So if we go here, and it's not going to do anything. Oh, because we haven't initialized our player clam. Why do I keep saying clam? Oh, man. Okay, so we want to delete this from player from our entity. I mean, let's move that outside our curly braces and call it cam entity. And you want to do the same thing for our player, actually. Let's move it outside our curly braces and call this player entity, because I need to initialize it. You'll see why. So right now we say we need to initialize our player cam. Let's call it player cam. So under our player and above our background, or it could be below, either way works. You want to say player cam. Why did this not work? Did I misspell something? Player cam. Why is that not working? Oh. Make sure you close it off correctly and include. So player cam equals new player cam. And we want to pass cam entity. And I see your player cam set player entity and set that to player entity, which is why we wanted to put it outside of curly braces. So once we do that, build it and let's play it. It's like, oh, it's moving now. But Mario's all the way in the corner. So let's fix that, shall we? Let's go to our player cam, go to our header file, and let's create a float. Let's call it offset in the X. And here, I guess you could do it in here. Offset. Let's make it 100 for now. So we want to say if pause that get X is greater than offset. You want to make sure we update it. So it says, so if it's greater than offset, then we start that's not really parallaxing, but start moving our camera. We'll make sure we subtract the offset as well, so that way it doesn't jump. So if I don't do this, it's gonna jump. You see what I mean right now? Well, actually, you know what? Because yeah, see, it jumps. So what we want to do is subtract the offset. So now it does this, but we want Mario to be a little bit more ahead. Let's put it to 100. Let's see how that looks. So if it looks, it's like, okay. So right now it doesn't move, but it moves once I go greater than 200. Still kind of jitters a bit though, and it's probably because my camera update is probably a little bit less. camera's updating first, and then my player. So my camera update's actually getting a little later. So probably let's see. Let's initialize our player first, and then our camera. First, just let me see if it works first before you guys do it. Let's initialize our. It's because I believe the reason why it jitters a bit is because I'm getting the update a little later. Let's make sure. Let's see if this works. I think it looks good. I'm not sure if it actually looks any different. It may be different or not. It looks good. I may need to increase that jump though, but cool. We have our level already. That's what I wanted to do with you guys today. It's not much. I mean, the next thing is actually going to take a little longer. And that's our enemy. So I gotta create. I think it's time to create our enemy. Or enemies for all of them. Which basically all of them, majority of them do the same thing anyway. I just haven't figured out how I'm lay it out yet. And we'll figure that out together in the next video. I hope you guys liked this video. We did a couple things. Not that great. I mean, not that great, but not a lot of stuff, basically. But we were able to, put our background, clean up our directory, our textures directory, and we have a scrolling background now. Woo! Awesome. Awesome! Alright guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's a little shorter than the other ones though, but you know, I don't want to create it too long either. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys had a great time. And let's enjoy this, guys, because it's really it's starting to look good. I believe I gotta fix that transparency though, so don't worry, I'll fix that in our next video. Our next video will fix that transparency, and we'll start doing enemies. So I hope you guys are pumped up for that, and I'll see you guys in the next video. So signing out, guys, and I'll see you guys later. Signing out.